Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to review our New Jersey Audubon Summer Camp information. This recording is designed to familiarize yourself with the types of things that you might expect at one of our camps, as well as some of the things you will need to provide to make sure we have the best experience all the way around. While you may only be familiar with the camp staff at your local center, together we have several hundred years of experience on our staff. We weren't able to get everyone's photo here as we are still in the hiring process, but we wanted to share some of the faces of folks you will be seeing throughout the summer with your children. Summer camp is certainly all about fun. Whether your child attends a camp in the northern part of the state and experiences our forests, streams, and fields, or the camp is in the southern part of the state and your child gets to explore the Cape May Harbor and the surrounding habitats. We'll get into this a little bit more later in the presentation, but you know what? Camp will be still a little bit different this year because of lingering concerns about COVID, but we are confident that the summer fun will abound as we connect with nature throughout the state. We're keeping the big picture in mind. All New Jersey Audubon summer camp staff are fully vaccinated. We highly encourage all campers to be vaccinated as well, because health and safety are New Jersey Audubon's highest priorities. We also follow CDC and New Jersey Department of Health recommendations, as well as guidance from an infectious disease specialist to inform our organizational policies and procedures. In some cases, our protocols may be a bit more restrictive than other guidelines. That's because we want to proceed with utmost caution for the health and safety of staff, volunteers, and all of the campers. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover the forms, policies, and agreements. We're going to cover a little bit of the camp overview regarding COVID-19, some extra precautions that we take, and what the daily routine and explorations might look like. So first, New Jersey Audubon nature camps are certified by the state of New Jersey, which means there are very specific protocols, actions, and guidelines that we must adhere to. All of our sites are inspected by local, county, and/or state inspectors. All staff are background checked, and all staff have an appropriate level of CPR first aid training that are required. When you registered, you received a link to the site where you registered with all the standard documents and attachments that are needed for your child to attend camp. Some centers may have included additional documents specific to the particular program. If you have any questions, please reach out to the camp director at the site where your child is registered. If you didn't find any information and have not received any information, please look in your spam folder to make sure that you get the link to all the information that you need to have filled out prior to attending camp. First off, there's the Universal Health Form. This is required regardless of the camp. We are requesting that you use this form. This may be new for some folks, but we have found that this form provides all information on one page, and in case of emergency, information is standardized, easy to find, and you should be able to download this from your healthcare portal. A reminder, special needs, medical and special needs policy. New Jersey Audubon does not administer medicines. The child must be able to do so, or a parent or guardian needs to come and administer any medicines that occur during the day. If there are any special considerations that we should know about, it's important for everyone's safety and enjoyment that you let us know ahead of time. A phone call, video conference can be arranged. All summer camps have a waiver which you checked, acknowledging that being outdoors and exploring has certain risks. Likewise, you assert that your child will follow any COVID protocols and instructions by our summer camp team. This was all done as part of your registration process. One thing that we did want to call out is the behavior agreement that we ask that you share with your child before camp begins. Our camps are only a week long, so any challenging or disrespectful behavior needs to be dealt with head on. We appreciate that kids will be kids, and sometimes there can be a he said, she said, they said situation, but behavior that inflicts physical or emotional violence, verbal abuse, or bullying is unacceptable. When we are made aware of a situation, we will do our best to notify the parent or guardian to discuss our response, which could include the following. It can certainly be a verbal warning and or a supervised timeout from an activity. It could be dismissal from camp for the remainder of the day, but it could also include dismissal from the remainder of the program. So we really ask that you share this with your children ahead of time so that we can all have the best possible summer camp experience. The other thing that we want you to be aware of is that it's really, really important. Stay home when your child is ill. We will encourage them to use proper hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette, and report any illnesses or symptoms to the New Jersey Audubon Camp Director immediately. In addition to fun, our priorities related to COVID this year include class cohorts. Concurrent classes are kept as separate as possible, especially indoors. We will have a different arrival and departure sites for the different class cohorts. We will, as I said earlier, encourage hand cleaning and sanitizing throughout the day. All camp spaces will be cleaned at the end of the day. We will encourage physical distance during camp days. Outdoors is less of a problem than indoors. If we do bring children indoors, there will be appropriate spacing between children. And then we will try to make sure that there is appropriate space between cohorts when outside. Children should arrive at camp with a well-fitted face mask. We are not requiring masks outdoors, but clearly if children feel comfortable wearing a mask, they can do so. Indoors, though, is a different story. We will require masks to be worn when groups are in the building for a period of time. We will spend as much time outdoors as possible. There is always going to be some form of cover, whether it's a tent, a pavilion, or the tree canopy. We will only be indoors under extreme weather circumstances, and we'll rely on fresh air with windows open, the use of fans, and air conditioning only if needed. We will require daily pre-screening or check-in. An online form needs to be completed every day for every camper before drop-off. You will be emailed your appropriate link prior to camp starting, but if you forget to do the pre-screening before you arrive, there will be a scannable QR code like the one to the right for each cohort at each site. Our staff will be happy to help you. So let's talk a little bit about a day in the life of a New Jersey Audubon camper. As we already mentioned, prior to arrival, the parent or guardian does the health pre-screening and the check-in. Arrive at camp, parents, you can stay in the car or you can walk your child to the check-in area based on your camp location. Kids go to their meeting site, they clean their hands, they store their materials or their day pack, whatever they have brought with them, and they go exploring, play games, create art, listen to and tell stories, enjoy nature, make memories, take water with them, have snack breaks, and they wait for pickup at the same meeting spot where they got dropped off. Last year was our inaugural year for having a weekly newsletter, which is going to show some highlights and photos from what's happening at each one of the camps. So we will be doing this for all 10 weeks of summer camp. And while it won't capture everything and everybody If your child has permission to have their photo taken, we will use some of those photos in our weekly newsletter so you can see what's going on around the state. So some general items to bring to camp. We want to make sure that everybody's prepared. So have your child bring a clearly marked day pack or backpack to put all of their things in. We also ask that if they're in a full day camp, that they bring their lunch with them. There will be opportunities for snacks throughout the day as well. Bring a reusable, refillable water bottle. We must make sure that children stay hydrated throughout the day. They should have a great lightweight hat to keep sun and bugs off of them. Also those masks that we talked about. If you are administering sunscreen or bug spray, please do it before the child shows up at camp. They have to be able to put it on themselves if they do bring it to camp. We request closed-toed shoes. Depending on the type of activities that the children are doing, we don't want stubbed toes, we don't want children getting bitten by things. So that's one thing to check with the camp directors, but closed-toed shoes are best. Nature camp is all about exploring. It's all about discovering new things. It's all about playing in small groups or as teams. And as part of all our experiences, we try to practice new skills, whether it's using science instruments, learning how to identify plants and animals using books or online applications, practicing our observation skills, or learning new naturalist techniques. But in the end, we are learning about ecology, the environment, conservation, and how to be a good steward of our earth. Lastly, as we mentioned before, we also hope that Nature Camp gives all children the opportunity to meet new people and maybe, just maybe, those new friends that will last for many years to come. So thank you for listening, and as a last reminder, please reach out to your camp director directly if you have any additional questions. Thanks very much.